Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. From a transfer window that seemed to be starting off pretty well, over the last 2 to 3 weeks it seems to have stalled. We're going to give our thoughts and opinions on the transfers made so far in this window. We want you to get involved as ever with your opinions in the comments, and we will discuss some of them throughout the video. Now, first of all, what's your opinions on the transfers made so far this window?
Well, so far, first one, Onana, can't argue with that. Exciting player. I think he will improve Manchester United. I think when you look at it, replacing David De Gea, United let him go really. Sad to see him go, but that's life. Improvement, and that's what you want to see. I think he's a better goalkeeper. I think he brings more to the team, more football. I think the back four, midfield, are more comfortable with him, and it's an exciting way to play. He plays the attacking game and it helps everybody out. When I look at the next one, Mason Mount, long-term target for Erik Ten Hag. I think he's a good player. Lots of opinions out there for him, but I do think he's a good addition to the squad. Had a bit of a tough time at the moment, but I think he'll get through that. I think he's a quality player and he'll improve, and it's a good addition. Rasmus Hojlund, the jury's out on him. Atalanta, good player, scored a few goals. People wanted more goals from him, you know, when they do the stats and that. But I think he's a good addition. Unfortunately, I think it's what we needed. But as a signing, I think it's an excellent signing because the future looks bright for Rasmus Hojlund.
Yeah, going back to Onana though, he clearly gives us a different style of play from the back.
Yeah.
Someone who's more comfortable on the ball and also breeds confidence as well to his back four that we didn't see last season.
No, that's right. It's the Erik Ten Hag style. He wants people to play football, and this kid plays football. We've not seen too much of him, a couple of games, but you know he's got it. If you watch any clips, it's out there, fantastic. But it does get you off the seat of your pants and you're up in the air, and you will be up in the air because there will be some airy moments as well. But to me, is an improvement. David De Gea was a declining goalkeeper, and I think that FA Cup final proved that.
Yeah, going on to Rasmus Hojlund, like you say, the stats are out there. I didn't see too much of him last season for Atalanta, but I would say he's an improvement on last season's strikers available in Weghorst and Martial.
Well, it's miles improvement. I mean, if you look at Weghorst, I mean, no disrespect to him, couldn't score a goal. And it's goals what win games. It's as simple as that. But the man put the effort in and everything, and I don't want to disrespect him because I thought he fought in every game. Might not have been a good game every game he played, but you could see that he wanted to play for Man United. Martial, we all know about Martial. 18 months ago, maybe 12 months ago, I think he was at Seville. United wanted Seville to buy him, but unfortunately he broke down there again. Seville were having none of it, and I don't see what can be done with Anthony Martial. Anything's an improvement, but the thing is, that's no disrespect to Hojlund. Hojlund is a good player, and I think he's there, and I think he will be worked on and improve and become one of the stars at Old Trafford.
Mason Mount, though, he seems to divide the fan base.
Yes.
You know, he could speak to 10 people and 5 of them agree. Think he's a great player, Mason Mount, and the other 5, the jury's still out, so to speak.
Yeah.
Why do you think he divides opinions so much?
I don't really know. I can't put my finger on it. I listened to ex-Chelsea players there talking about him, and they rave about him.
Yeah.
They've watched him for years and years growing up, and I just don't understand the divide over it. But there's a challenge there, and that's down to Mason Mount himself now to get over the doubters. And I think this injury, very unlucky with it. It's the wrong time for him because he needed to stay in the team and knuckle down and prove the doubters wrong. But with some players, they don't hit the ground running. Mason Mount, and I'm going off all the accounts and also the times I've seen him play, I think he's a very good player, and I think over time he will change people's minds.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's been 2 games up to now in the Premier League season.
Yeah.
What picture do you think Erik Ten Hag's got in his head, though, in Mason Mount playing in what sort of position? Do you think he actually wants to play that attacking style of football with leaving just Casemiro back on his own, roaming around in that defensive midfield area with Bruno and Mason Mount pushing forward? Or do you think he'd like Mason Mount to be a little bit more back, more towards Casemiro in helping out defensively?
I think he wants him moving forward. I think it's an attacking style, what Erik ten Hag wants. Yeah. And I think where you've got Casemiro, I think he's hoping that the back four sort of move up and help Casemiro in a way, and it's not worked proper. United just seem to be too far apart, but Mason Mount coming to Manchester United, he's more going forward, and that you've got to take it. That's how he plays, and that's what Erik ten Hag wants. So I can't see any change coming that we're going to have a defensive partner with Casemiro. Mason Mount is an attacking player, and that's what he wants. And he has targeted him for a while. Yeah. So that's how it is, I think.
Yeah, with you saying about defenders pushing up, I have seen Lisandro Martinez on a few occasions, even in the 2 games we've seen, pushing up into midfield when we are high up the pitch as well, to put that extra body in there. But it's obviously not clicking, it's not gelling right at the moment, but it needs to be worked on as well by Erik ten Hag and his staff.
Yeah, it's got to be worked on by everybody. You said the other day, and I think you said it a couple of times now, Martinez himself doesn't look quite fit. No. So it's a matter of working on it, and a work in progress. That's how I would look at it. But Casemiro's going to sit there, and I think your Mason Mount, I think he's going to stick to the job, what he's brought in to do, and as an attacking midfield player.
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts and opinions are on the 3 players that we've signed up to now. Obviously out there we've discussed on many videos, discussing it early on in our match preview about players coming in.
Yeah.
It's quite clear he wants a midfielder coming in, and it's Amrabat everyone's talking about. Do you expect that to happen before the deadline?
I expect it to happen. I've been thinking about it all day.
He actually has as well. He's been in my ear all day about it. Different scenarios, the lot.
Yeah, different scenarios. Well, we've all got different scenarios. But the fact is, Amrabat sat there and he's waiting for United to come in and pay the fee. And it's a small fee compared to what we're all used to. He wants to come to United. United want him. But unfortunately, the deal hasn't been done. Amrabat needs to come. If you look at Mason Mount, it makes it more of a priority, 4 to 6 weeks. And at the end of the day, with Mason Mount being out, it just might go over the line there further. So Amrabat really needs to be bought. And it's poor. It's a poor showing, really, that we've not gone out and got him. Yes, there's various reasons that which we'll discuss in a bit. But Amrabat, I thought he should have been brought in anyway without the Mason Mount. Amrabat, good addition to the squad, and is a good player.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's people in the comments earlier on before we started our live video saying the price now that's being reported is to 21 million. Now, if Manchester United can't afford and go out and get that, we're in big trouble then this season.
It's peanuts.
Yeah, it's peanuts.
It's absolutely peanuts. Yeah. You know, all the reports about buying players and that seems to be that we're restricted. But that, you know, we're restricted by we have to sell players. Well, I'm sure back in January, when Murto and his team sat down with Erik ten Hag and pinpointed people, I don't think this discussion about having to sell players, to buy players, actually came into it. I think that might have changed over the months with the situation of the way the club is, with the Glazers and everything else like that. So I think it might have come as a shock to Erik ten Hag and also to the team inside United looking and targeting players, because there would have been big discussions. Bringing in Weghorst told you we need to target players in the summer and bring them all in. And we needed 2 strikers, 2 midfield players, definitely a centre-half. That's how I see it. So at the end of the day, players were targeted, and unfortunately, we've now come to a dead stop because of the policy of move players out. And that is a big failure on the point of Murto and the rest of the staff. Players should have been targeted, moved out, and there should have been a process, and it should have been dealt with, to be honest with you, at the end of May.
People out there will say it, and you've said it before, I've said it before, but there is certain players in that squad who are on very high wages through previous regimes under Ed Woodward, and it's going to be very hard to shift them. Would you take a knockdown fee just to shift these players off the book so you can actually release, or shall I say, free up some wages to bring players in at least?
Yeah, I would have done it. I said it a long time ago. These players, what people refer to as deadwood, and I've got that word in my head now. They are deadwood. That's what they are. You just get them out. You know there's going to be a change, ownership, the way the club's going to be run soon. So at the end of the day, I think they should have just cleared them out, accepted the loss, that they're not bringing all the dough in what they wanted, and just take something. If you look at it, if you'd have just said Donny van der Beek, Harry Maguire, go and get 40 million for the two of them. That, you know, what's the problem with that? You're freeing up two people's wages. Yeah. You know, Amrabat would have been here by now. We'd have had a centre-half by now. You know, you've got to have a centre-half. Harry Maguire targeted a long time ago. He was never going to be the captain this summer. We knew what was coming. Ten Hag knew what was coming. John Murtough and all his team knew what was coming, and he was going to get moved on. But where was the work done on it? Where was clubs contacted?
The strategy and all that, the process behind it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'll leave it up to Harry Maguire. Ten Hag's at fault. In some way, you know. Oh well, if Harry wants to work for his place, let him work for it. No, don't work for it. You don't want him. He's fifth choice.
So do you think it'd be better for him to come out and say it publicly and in a way just be blunt of Harry Maguire's situation at United?
He should have done. Ten Hag, in a way, is to blame for the Harry Maguire situation where it is right now. Pampering and being nice. He should have just come straight out with it and gone, Harry Maguire is not going to play, he is my fifth choice. If he'd have used those words, then things might have got kicked on quicker by the officials in the club, by Harry Maguire himself, by the England manager talking to him and saying, hey, this is the position, you know, by his reps, and other clubs would have been alerted. You know, to be told your fifth choice centre-half after having the captaincy strips off you, you know you've no future, but it's been left to, like, plod along, being nice. Well, if Harry wants, you know, Harry saying, I want to play, I want to fight for my place and all that, I think I'm good enough, and Ten Hag sort of backing that up when he really doesn't want him, and he wants another centre-half because Varane gets injured, or he can't play 2-3 games every 10 days. So at the end of the day, the money would have come in and helped get another centre-half. So there is certain where you can point at Erik Ten Hag and say you should have been firmer. There is points where you can look at the club and say Murtough and that should have done more. But at the end of the day, I think they've been I think they've had their legs taken from them by the policy of what's been handed down by the owners of the club, really. And it's come as a bit of a shock, because the first bit of the window over a month ago when it kicked in, Harry Maguire's up for sale for 50 million. Next thing you know, Mason Mount is bought. Then Onana, the deal's virtually done. And at the same time, the deal's virtually done for Hojlund. Everything was looking rosy. And then I think the legs have been took from everyone. And it's ended up now in this situation. It's a shambles because everyone's clear. It's a centre-half we need. It's a midfield player we need. It's a centre-forward we need. And there's nothing on the horizon. And we've got a player sat there who people are saying is up for sale for the price of 21 million. That doesn't bode well for the future at all. This squad needs strengthening.
I think the three players that you can clearly see are definitely surplus to requirements. Forget about opinions out there, mine, yours and everyone else's, is Dean Henderson, Donny van der Beek and Harry Maguire.
Yes.
So to raise funds to go and get the likes of Amrabat, do you think it's possible them three players will leave in this transfer window? We've got roughly, 6-7 days left?
I think if Erik Ten Hag came straight out with it on Maguire, what I've just said, and if he repeated my words, I think Harry Maguire would just get his bags and he'd be off.
But I think the problem is with Harry Maguire as well, and a big problem down to his camp, his agent and people like that. They think that Harry Maguire is on this certain level where he can go out and get a bigger club than West Ham.
You might just be seeing bluff here from his camp, and there might be something what comes next week. I hope so.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so, because the money's needed, so we can just go and get Amrabat and then try and get rid of Donny van der Beek. Donny van der Beek has to go. I mean, he wasn't so pleasing with his words about Donny van der Beek last week, that he hasn't got his eye on the ball type of thing.
His head's not in it. He said it about Brandon Williams, who's gone on loan today to Ipswich.
Yeah, so his head's not in it. Well, hang on a minute. I don't understand how your head's not in it when you're fighting to get in the first team and you're on such massive wages like that. How can your head not be in it? That doesn't send out the right message to any club what was actually come looking. So the words what Erik ten Hag spoke, right, might backfire on him, and people might go, whoa, well, this might not be a good thing to look at Donny van der Beek. Donny van der Beek, to be honest with you, we're going to struggle to get rid of him. Any money for him, all you can do, to me, I look at him and Williams and people like that, you just got to get him off the books. And that's the problem. But unfortunately, our owners just don't let anything go.
With that Amrabat, though, it's been at least 2-3 weeks, probably a month or so, I think we've spoken about him and everyone out there talking about him. Is it a case of we can't get him until we release like Donny van der Beek? Or is he waiting for someone like Scott McTominay to move on before you can get someone like Amrabat, you know, with the wages McTominay's probably on and the fee what we'd probably command for Scott McTominay?
I think it works both ways.
Because I'm not sure how much of a fee would you think we'd get for Donny?
Well, they were talking about 30, 40. Well, what would you get?
I mean.
Yeah, there's a problem. We need the fee in. So who's going to bring that fee in? And Scott McTominay might be the one. And, you know, we was discussing we were discussing earlier on. And we have discussed, has Ten Hag fallen out with McTominay? And we want the money. And he's got other targets, better targets. You know, you look at Amrabat and you compare him to, what the games I've seen. Yes, you could consider him an upgrade and a better to get in our side than Scott McTominay. But I still rate Scott McTominay as a squad player. But needs must. We need to improve the side. So we might sacrifice Scott McTominay. But like we go back to Fred. Fred's been sold. So there's a gap there. And if you sell Donny van der Beek, there's a gap there. But to be honest with you, looking at Donny van der Beek, he's not even in the picture. But we can't sell him. And that's a big, big problem for Man United. So at some point, either next week or in the near future, we've got to just get rid of players to bring players in.
Yeah, it just worries me, if we do sell Harry Maguire, will we bring in a decent enough replacement for him, or someone with a better quality than him this late in the transfer window? You know, you've got Dean Henderson being talked about with Crystal Palace. Looks like we're buying that kid from Fenerbahce, the goalkeeper. Was it Altay Bayende? Yeah,
talks are progressing,
Okay, so you've got Bayende replacing Dean Henderson. That's what it looks like. Then Johnny Evans is being muted as well to be given a one-year deal. If Harry Maguire goes, do you think that squad's stronger then? So if Dean Henderson goes, that's the replacement from Fenerbahce. Then you've got Harry Maguire if he was to leave, and then you've got Johnny Evans on a one-year deal. Does that weaken Manchester United? Because for me, that weakens Manchester United. For them like-for-like replacements.
Yeah, it weakens it. It doesn't make it any better.
Don't make no sense, though, to me.
No. Well, with Dean Henderson, it's complicated because he's an angry man. I've said that many times. He wants to leave Man United, but it's always been a struggle to actually someone bid for him and sell him. But it looks like he will be going. It looks like the deal with that Fenerbahce goalkeeper will be done. And that's only a like-for-like. Dean Henderson at Manchester United is just a number 2. He's just a number 2 because he'll never, ever replace Onana. And he was never replacing David De Gea. Onana is way above Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson, he has his moments, he's a good shot stopper and all that, but he does not play football like Onana. So he would only be playing second fiddle. So bringing in a replacement for Dean Henderson will be just doing exactly the same. He's just a number 2 as cover for Onana. And then the other player, Maguire, you know, looking at Johnny Evans, you know, does it make the squad better? No, it doesn't. Does it make it any worse? No, it doesn't. But what it does do is bring a big embarrassment to Harry Maguire, and it also does a big embarrassment to the wheelings and dealings of Manchester United, because it does not set a good tone. I just don't like the idea of it at all. I think it's a backward step.
The thing is, this current squad as well, you've got to think about it. You know, Erik ten Hag says he wants to win every game, and I think we've seen that judging off performances last year and where we got to 2 cup finals, domestic cup finals. We're playing Champions League football this year.
Yeah.
This squad needs to step it up. You know, we're going to be competing against, you know, the royalty of European football here. We need better players coming in. We can't be just swapping like for like in certain areas. We need that midfielder. We need another centre forward.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like we're swapping like for like in the goalkeeper department. Maybe Harry Maguire does move out, but Johnny Evans then signs a 1-year deal. Yeah, hopefully that isn't the case, and there's something in the pipeline for a replacement to come in from Harry Maguire. There was Todibo from Nice being spoken about, but again, that's stalled. That's gone under the water as well.
Yeah, everything seems to have stalled under the water. Like you say, we have got the Champions League. We will be competing. We competed on quite a few fronts. The first one to drop was the Europa League. But the others were there, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup final, challenging for the top 4 spot. It's all there. And with having the Champions League, you would have thought, right, the priority would have been bringing in. And I doubt, well, how can I say this? I think Murto and ten Hag and that were in sync, looking for players. And I think, that, like I say, they've had it took from underneath them. And it's bad. It's bad because really when you look at the amount of games we're going to play, this squad needs improving with quality players, and having the likes of replacing someone for Dean Henderson and Harry Maguire does not improve the squad at all. We need a proper centre-half to come in, not just to replace Maguire, right? We'll have the absence of Varane. That will happen. The amount of games, it doesn't happen. And the injuries.
So, does it show to you the 3 signings that we have made this summer that John Murto is actually doing a good job in terms of how quickly he got these deals done and the transfers fee paid? And it is just a matter of, look, with what's going on in the background here with the takeover, even John Murto's arms are tied and he can't go out and get these players.
I think you've hit it with that word there. Even John Murto's hands are tied. I think when you look at how we got the deals and how they were done reasonably quickly, I would say, I think they've done an excellent job. You go back a month when it all started kicking in with Mason, well, over the month with Mason Mount being acknowledged as signing for United, and then Onana, and then Hojlund was done. I thought it was an excellent period of the transfer window with more to come. And it's been an absolute disappointment since then. And I think for people to blame Murto, I think they're looking at the wrong thing. I think they're going down the wrong direction and blaming Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag's not the man what pays these fees or does the negotiations. He targets, and in January it was clear when we was not buying anybody and it was only loans what was coming in. They sat down, made the targets, discussed it, and I think, like, you are right. I think
the thing is, ten Hag, even in the past, he's made shrewd signings. I don't necessarily want the star name signings. I just want the players coming in that I know Erik ten Hag wants and will be able to do a job and improve this starting 11. And he's made true signings like Malacia last season. Was it £12 million? When he come in, he done a job. He gave Luke Shaw a bit of a kick up the backside.
Shrewd,
and look at his performances last season, Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Just a challenge.
That's right. Young, eager, that's what Malacia was. And he wanted it, and his interviews told you that. So he got the right character. He didn't just get the player, he got the character. He understood where Malacia, what his thinking was, how he is as a person and all that. And when you listen to his interviews, he come out, he was a fighter. And you could see it on the pitch, he's a fighter. Unfortunately, he's been struck down with injuries. And that's why Luke Shaw played well, because he had someone behind him who wanted to take his place.
And that's like an Alex Tellez who was just in and out, just like farting about, just prancing around the field. But just going to jump into the chat. Sky Fox, cheers for your super chat, mate.
Thank you.
We as fans seem to have forgotten how we started in the 07-08 season and the 08-09 season under Sir Alex Ferguson. 2 draws and a loss in the 07-08 and then 1 draw. 1 win and 1 loss in the 08-09. let's give it time to start and getting the right results. Some great memory bank there you've got on your mate, and I appreciate your comment.
Well, my memory bank doesn't work like that at all. But, you know, what I would say is I'm sure there's other instances exactly the same as that where we started badly. I mean, we started badly. Look, we started badly last year, and there has been times when we've picked it up. We picked it up last year, and I expect to pick it up. But I expected to be able to go into like, well,
the thing that worries me is, though, when Erik Ten Hag was saying it towards the back end of last season, and he was mentioning it after the FA Cup final, that we need to correct our mistakes and wrongdoings by not putting the ball in the back of the net. And that's what he seemed to be most frustrated about, is the lack, not the lack of chances, but wasted chances in front of goal. And for me, over the first 2 games, we scored against Wolves, but 1 goal in 2 Premier League games isn't good enough.
Yeah, it's the same thing repeating itself here, putting the ball in the back of the net. But you're not going to get a consistency putting the ball in the back of the net last year with the likes of Martial, with his injuries, playing so few games, with the likes of having Weghorst up there, with the likes of having to play Rashford centre forward, with likes of trying to put Sancho in a forward position. You're not going to get the goals what we think we need. The chances can be created, but if you've not got the right people in the place, and that's why I believe two strikers were targeted, needed to be targeted. I'm sure they were targeted, and we've only ended up with 1. And I think Ten Hag has, you know, as his legs took from him, he's in shock that where we are is not what he thought Manchester United should be. They should be in for the top class players. And if you look around, when we want strikers, and we've gone for them in the past, we've just gone out there, your Van Nistelrooys, things like that. We've just gone out and bought them, your Teddy Sheringham's, all these players that can go, Andy Cole. We've just gone out, bang, paid the money. The football world was always in shock.
Rio Ferdinand, a lot.
All of them. You just look at the top players United have gone out and bought. There was no messing. You know, we've just gone out, paid it. Whereas now we're competing with other teams for top players, and we're not really top of the tree when it comes to coming to Man United first, because the money's not there, and it's a drawn-out saga, and that's where players get diverted to other clubs. Things will change, but they're not happening now. But hopefully, with the ownership change, things do move on. But hey, we have to deal with what we got, and I think Ten Hag is accepting that now, because over the last fortnight, at least, I think we can all accept that there's no major top-class players coming in as an addition to this squad unless something happens in selling players, and it has to be quick. 7 days left? I think we're going to struggle here.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean with the ownership of the club and funds being released and that. But like we seen last January, we've seen us go out and get Sabitzer and Weghorst, and it wasn't on permanent deals, it was loan deals. But you know, if the takeover of the club did happen, let's say, for argument's sake, and I won't say we're struggling for goals, but we still think we need that second striker. We're in the cup competitions, we're doing quite well. Would you go out and get Ivan Toney, or at least put a bid in? Is it the 17th of September? He's allowed to then train back with Brentford, so it should be fitness right up there on a level.
Well, Ivan Toney, would he come to Manchester United? Not from what I've heard. Listening to him on his latest interview, Liverpool fan since day one. Absolutely adores Arsenal. That tells me this player ain't coming to Manchester United. He's in London. I think a nice move to Arsenal. He was sort of suggesting that. Bang out of order, to be honest with you, the player.
Disrespect to Brentford, do you mean? So maybe he's not got that attitude that you want here at the football club.
Listen, he's up for a charge. He's banned and all that. I think he's disrespecting everybody there, especially Brentford. They're paying his wages, and he's talking about how he'd love Arsenal, and then being a Liverpool fan all his life, and the big smirk on his face. It was telling Manchester United, don't even bother come looking for me. So I think we can take Toney off the radar. That's a cert.
So, in a nutshell, do you expect any more transfers then coming in before the end of this transfer window? Well, before the transfer window shuts. I can't
see anyone what we need. A centre half. we
Do you
could.
see that as a priority at centre half? I think we're quite happy with Martinez, Varane, Lindelof. I thought Lindelof was doing great towards the end of last season.
I'm not saying Lindelof's not a good.
Luke Shaw as well there to cover Martinez for any injuries or suspensions. I think that is solid. I'd rather go and concentrate on a midfielder, centre midfielder, or another forward, even if you have to go and get another forward in on loan.
That's prioritising.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I get you prioritising a midfielder and a forward. But the thing is, what do we need, right? We need a centre-half, a class centre-half to come in, okay? You've got the difference between Varane and Lindelof, and what you would have is a class centre-half there. And if there is another injury, okay, you know, Martinez last year, injured, you just never know. Slow to start, you just never know what's going to happen. We need a centre-half because slowly but surely Varane will be eased out of this team, whether it starts next summer or whether it becomes of his own volition through injuries and things like that. So let's get it, the centre-half. That's what we need.
But we're not going to get that class centre-half, I don't think, this summer. So
no, we're not.
Saying, so why don't you just save whatever money you'd be looking at spending, maybe on a centre-half like this, Todibo or whoever's mentioned out there, and look and go and get Amrabat, 21 million, then go out and get a forward. If you can pick up another forward who's going to guarantee you at least 10 or 15 goals this season, go and spend that 25, 30 million or get him on loan.
A few weeks ago, we wanted to get a centre-half. A few weeks ago, we wanted a centre-half. A few weeks ago, we wanted a centre-forward. The reality of life here at Old Trafford is now, there's a week to go. We are not going to get the class players we need.
That's what I mean.
A month ago, we had the chance to go out there and get the class what could walk into the team. It's not been done. So at the end of the day, the only player I see where we've got a chance of signing before the window shuts is Amrabat. And I'll be happy getting Amrabat. Centre forward, very, very disappointed about that. Yes, we can do without the centre half, but a centre half is needed. And if we could have got a class centre half, then fine.
Totally agree.
But the thing is, the opportunity wasn't there. So Amrabat, we have to get him. That is the priority. And if we don't get him, an absolute disgrace. From where you go back 4 to 5 weeks ago, and absolutely the summer was looking really, really good, and not getting Amrabat is a disaster in the face of Mason Mount being out for 4 to 6 weeks. That makes it worse not getting him, and to leave it this late now and play chicken, because that's what we're playing now. Maguire's playing chicken with the transfer, and the Amrabat deal, you know, it's all chicken, and it's not the way it should be. Well, it's not though, is it? No. You know, this is the biggest club in... No, but it's not. This is the biggest club in the world. And this is what the Glazers have brought us down to. Because I believe it's all down to the Glazers, the way the transfer window has ended up. It started nicely, it was looking good. And I think...
They fill you with that false hope, but... Look, you look back over previous managers. You look at Mourinho's. Was it his second season when we got? Was it Grant, the goalkeeper, Fred, and Delo?
Yeah.
You know, we've had it with other managers, Louis van Gaal as well. Yeah, they've spent big. They've spent some decent money in the first season, and it seems to be like with a couple of the managers where they get into Champions League football, they don't want to spend the cash.
Yeah. I just think the reality of it all is down to what the Glazers are doing with the sale of the club and how they're doing it. I don't think really it's down to Murto and his team, and it's certainly not down to Erik ten Hag. And you know, that's what it is to me. They've had the legs chopped from underneath them, but I don't think they've seen it coming, because the way the 3 deals were done, what we've got in, they were done pretty smoothly, to be honest with you, and it made a refreshing change. And then to suddenly come to a halt, I think is a shock. Well, it's definitely a shock to all us, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think it was a shock to them as well, because there's just no real confirmation from what's coming out of the club about what's going to happen. All the shouts been is sell, he won't go, we can't sell him, we can't do that. And that's all the deadwood. And we need to get the deadwood out. once this squad and all the players what are in the squad are actually Erik ten Hag's people, then I think you'll just see a different United. I'm sick to death of players who we don't want, who shouldn't be here, sulking round that training ground, sulking in the changing room and things like that, being part of the squad. They bring, it's like...
It shows you how bad the recruitment's been over the last few years. Erik Bailly, free transfer, can't even get rid of him.
No, that's right.
Can't even get rid of him.
All these players are hanging around like a bad smell. And until that is dealt with, you know, it's same old, same old.
Yeah, just like to thank everyone for joining us, getting involved in the chat. It's absolutely been popping off. It's been on fire. Some great comments in there. If you've enjoyed it, smash a like on the video. We will be back tomorrow as well. We'll do a reaction to Erik ten Hag's press conference.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll get some updates as well on Rasmus Hojlund and some confirmation that he will be in the squad to face Nottingham Forest. So hopefully you can join us there. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of your evening and hopefully see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Good night.